We are back in an exclusive. Stand by. First and foremost, thank you for returning. How's my sound? How's my video? Camera's over here. I see. All right. Okay. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to get in here. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, horror. Okay. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Mods, do what you do, mods. Do what you do, mods. Do what you do. Okay. Okay. Don't you hate that sound? Sound like my DJ days. Okay. Okay. Sound is good. Sound is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Where we left off is we got a verdict in the case involving Cash Out, Michael John Gibson, Linda Smith, also known as Morenika Vinnie, and Tyrone Tyler. Make sure you are hitting the thumbs up as you enter into the room. We have exclusive footage out the courtroom. We're playing it. We're about to play it, so make sure you're in here. Listen. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to pause it. You don't want me to play it all throughout, right? You want me to play it throughout. Well, if you want me to play it throughout, show you guys some love over here. Show me some love because we've been working behind the scenes. We've been working behind the scenes, and yes, we have the footage of the verdict. And without any further ado, we're gonna have to just go ahead and play. Get into it. Let's get into it. I don't want to waste your time. Those who are joining in from Twitter, YouTube, and all over the world, rapper Cash Out was a rising star in the Atlanta scene. He had one of the hottest songs coming out of Atlanta, and his mother was a reality star. Those who know her, she was his manager as well. My connection to them it goes back 10 plus years. And I'm very shocked about this. And then many people that knew Mama Cash and her son, I saw great things for them back then. I don't know how this thing went from one being a rapper and the other one being the manager of the rapper and the reality star to this. This is just it's a lot to unpack, ladies and gentlemen, today. It's a lot to unpack. I reached out to his attorney. I'm waiting for a call back. Sounds like we're about to have some storm. But we're gonna go ahead and play the video. We're gonna go ahead and play the video. Make sure you guys are supporting the platform. I do appreciate that because we're working. We out here working. We want to make sure that you guys are getting the latest breaking story as it relates to what's happening in Atlanta and across the country. As you can see, I just got back from New York. But here we go.
And starting with the verdict for John Michael Hakeem Gibson, would you read it from the top, the very top, all the way down, all the way through? Then after that, I'd like for you to read the verdict for defendant Ms. Smith. Start at the top and read it all the way through. And then I'd like for you to recite the verdict for Mr. Tyrone Taylor. Start at the top and all the way through. All right.
Hold on, before we continue, some of you guys you probably won't be able to see this. What I did today is a certain name or certain names that will never show up in my chat again. And I just made sure that those names would never show up in my chat again. And some of you might just disappear. If you post stupid comments, you're probably not going to be able to see the page again. I control this. This is my ish. So you might not be able to see the page again. So I just say, be responsible. Don't play yourself. Because then you'll be sending me an email later on saying, oh, I can't see you. I've been blocked. Why you block me? Well, I may have blocked you, maybe my mods have blocked you. But in any event, the blocking occurred. I'm not shy for doing a block party, but be respectful. Be respectful. Some of you played your hand, showed your hand, and played your hand. Now you got to play. Now you got to go play in traffic. Over here, we don't play. With that, let's again. And let me say this: the families of those that have been harmed by these individuals, I really commend you for even coming to. And it was a father who came to court, and we'll talk about that after we play the video. But yeah, it's heavy.
Georgia versus John Michael Hakeem Gibson, aka Cash Out, defendant. Indictment number 23 SC 186464, Judge Marlene Leffridge. Count 1, conspiracy to violate Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. Your verdict to, oh, so I'm sorry. So now you may start reading the actual.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a conspiracy to violate subsection A, the Georgia RICO Act, we the jury find the defendant guilty. As to conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we the jury find the defendant guilty. We the jury unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 2, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant not guilty. Count 10, rape. We find the defendant guilty. Count 12, aggravated sodomy. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 14, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant not guilty. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find defendant guilty. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the jury find the defendant guilty. Count 24, aggravated assault. We find the defendant not guilty. On the lesser count of battery, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 25, possession of firearm or knife during commission of or an attempt to commit certain felonies. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 26, pimping. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 27, pandering. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 29, willful obstruction of law enforcement officer. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 30, simple battery. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 42, keeping a place of prostitution. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Count 45, possession of prohibited items by inmate or providing prohibited item to the inmate. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
All right, before you go further, I believe you missed count 23.
Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant guilty.
Okay, and if you'll finish out the date. The last page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The 18th day of July 25th. My signature. Richard Brown.
All right. All right, if you'll move on to the next verdict. Form, yep.
State of Georgia versus Linda Smith, aka Morenika Vinnie and Mama Cash Out. Indictment number 23 SC 186464, Judge Leffridge. Number 1, count conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. As to the conspiracy to violate subsection A of the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As the conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 36, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant guilty. Count 38, prostitution. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. This 18th day of July 25th, Richard Brown.
All right. And if you'll move on to the third verdict form.
State of Georgia versus Tyrone, Orlando Taylor, AKA Ruski, indictment number 23 SC 186464. Judge Conspiracy to violate Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. As to conspiracy to violate subsection A of the Georgia RICO Act, we find the defendant guilty. As to conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 9, rape. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 11, aggravated sodomy. We find the defendant guilty. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. 16, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. 17, pandering by compulsion. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 18, possession of cocaine. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 19, tampering with evidence. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 20, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers by use of threats or violence. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 21, pimping. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. This 18th day of July, 2025, Richard Brown.
All right. Counsel, is there anything for this jury further?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like the jury to hold.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do now is something called polling the jury, okay? And so how this will work is this. You will stand up. You will simply say your juror number. All right, and then I'm going to ask you 3 questions, okay? And then you'll be seated. All right? So we'll start with you, sir, on the end in the front. Yes. If you'll stand up and tell me your juror number.
Number 36.
All right. Juror number 36, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, it is.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, it is.
All right, you may be seated. You'll stand. Juror number?
15.
Juror number 15, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
All right, seated. Sir.
48.
Juror number 48, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated.
91.
Juror number 91, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes. 68.
Juror number 68, was that your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict?
94.
Juror number 94, was that your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict? Right.
Number 10.
Juror number 10, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Yes. Second over in the back? Yes.
45.
Juror number 45, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
All right. Juror number 83, was that your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict?
29.
Juror number 29, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Juror number 74.
Juror number 74, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict? All right. Ladies and gentlemen of this jury, you are excused. We all thank you for your service. I've told you through the course of this trial that you can't have any conversations about this case with anyone, and you have adhered to that, and we all appreciate that you have done that. At this point, however, you are excused and you are free to talk about this case with whomever you wish, including the lawyers. They may have some questions for you. You do not have to speak with them if you don't want to. It's completely and totally up to you. And with that, you have a good evening.
All rise and observe.
Okay, please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Is there a request for a pre-sentencing hearing in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. We can have that on Monday at 10 o'clock. Okay, on Monday at 10 o'clock. So I will see all of you back at that time. All right? Okay.
Are we excused?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Just wow. Well, justice for the victims. Justice for the victims. Just wow. Miss HLS, as I watched, and I'm gonna pin your comment. As I watched the verdict being read, and looked at the defendants, was it all worth it? Was this all worth it? I don't think you guys understand the time that these individuals will receive for this type of conviction in Georgia. We heard what the convictions were. Even for Miss Vinnie, there was a Rico conviction. At least one of them violated the Rico statute. Racketeering, influence, corruption, organization act. And I want you guys to let that let that settle for a second. This is the first time in Georgia history that individuals were convicted under the RICO with a ex-trafficking charge, transportation. I don't know if you guys can hear that lightning. And then think about all the souls, the humans that are broken because of this selfish behavior, greedy. I never understood how pimps could sleep good at night when they robbing the souls of these innocent human beings. I could never understand that. I could never understand the pimp game. Could never understand that. And growing up in the 70s, 80s, and living in near some of the not nice areas, and there would be prostitution, Hunts Point Market. Just think about that for a second, and think about the people that profited off of that behavior. The testimony in this case showed that Cash Out beat a woman in the front of a car while it was a woman in the back of the car. And you hear the closing. You'll hear the closing. And as she said that, I looked at the jurors, and I'm gonna tell you guys, you know I'm a body language type of guy. I read the body language of these jurors. I knew it was over. I knew looking at these jurors, it was over for them. When I tell you, and I'm gonna paint a picture for you of these jurors, I saw and anyone that was in the courtroom can attest to this. These jurors, at this point, arms folded. And it was a row of them with their arms folded. And I said, oh, it's over. Some were stone faced, some were disgusted. And then when the alternates, there were 3 alternates, 2 African American and 1 white guy. They were the alternates. What was left were 2 blacks and 10 whites. And I saw the disgust on the blacks. But I saw that you had at least two victims that weren't of color. And then one of the victims came in, and it was just all like, oh God, it was bad. And I said, I told my colleagues in the courtroom, I said, this is going to be, the verdict will be back. I said this, the verdict will be back today, and there will be a conviction. And I said this. And I said it because I saw how those jurors looked. I felt the energy in the courtroom. It was bad. I looked at there were fathers in the courtroom of some of the victims. And when the closing argument was being delivered, I looked at one of the fathers. You couldn't tell me he wasn't the father because I saw how he looked. No one could tell me that. I saw his face. And if you ever are in a situation like that, it's either you want to take someone's head off, but he was broken because his daughter was broken. So this was a Rico case. I saw Rico. I saw it. There was too much there. It was too much there. it was just too much there. And the government had wiretaps, jail phone, they had communication. It was like the dots were connecting. And then you had a prosecutor that brought it home. And she walked each victim through her closing to the front in front of the jurors. It was bad. And I was really, really disgusted because I'm like, when I looked at the transactions, one of the victims' credit card was used to pay for Gibson Cash Apps, not Cash Out, not Cash App. The Cash App was one of the methods that were used to do transactions. But it was like the girls would make the money, send it to Mama Cash. And it was just like, wow. You weren't booking a concert, you weren't booking a show, you weren't booking a party, you weren't in the studio. And then there was the drugs. Because they were cooking up, they were selling drugs out the hotel. And it was the paraphernalia that was there. It was a lot of paraphernalia. It was drug paraphernalia. There was coke. There was anyway. It was a drug. There was drugs there. So the force and coercion was there. Then there was a picture of a machete that they had in the courtroom, a long machete. Just think about that. A long machete. Who was the machete for? Just wow. I can't feel sorry for them because they had an opportunity, but the girls were looking for opportunity to be in. Some were looking for opportunity to be in the business, and that was the lure. His record label was the lure for some of these victims. But we can't forget the victims in all this. We can't forget the victims in all this. And some of them are broken. And I saw one girl in the let's just say that, ladies and gentlemen, these type of cases are always hard for me to cover because you have to be able to sort out truth from lies. You have to really listen to testimony, listen to the evidence, look at the evidence. And with this case, I always try to find out what could be the alternate reality to this. Could this be explained away? Could this case be explained away in the defense? Well, the first thing I looked at was the location of the crime. It's a location where prostitution is rampant. No one goes to stay at those hotels unless you on some other stuff. No one goes to stay at those hotels if you're on some other stuff. You don't even drive in that neighborhood unless you're on some other stuff. So I'm saying that if you live over here, then why are you in the hotel over here? So it was part-time trap house, part-time hoe house. I'm sorry for my graphics, guys, but I gotta keep it real. I gotta keep it real with you. This was a trap house and a place for prostitution. There's no reason that anyone staying there can justify what was happening there. So then we talk about, and I don't want, and this is the other thing I want people to understand. All cases are not equally connected. And we can't miss that. I don't use a broad brush in covering stories. I can't say because these are the charges. These charges are going to match up with every. No. Because I've seen that part too. All cases are not the same, but you have to go in with an open mind and listen and use your common sense, something that you have that you don't get out of a textbook. You have to say, does this make sense? What is the likelihood of this happening versus this not happening? What would people under similar circumstances do if presented with the same type of force and coercion? Think about that. Some of these people were removed from their location in another state and brought to Georgia. Some was in Alabama, some were in other parts of the country. So they already are removed from their families. They're already removed from familiar situations. Their brothers, their fathers, their mothers, their uncles. And they put in a situation and taking their money away. If you tell me, give me all your money and I'll take care of you. Just give me all your money and I'll take care of you. But you can't call nobody and you're being held in servitude. Exoral servitude. You have no way to get out. You got the threat of physical violence because there was testimony where there was a friend in the back seat watching her friend getting slapped around like she was a rag doll. So the psychology of that, seeing that, and seeing weapons. Oh, no. It was one girl that was in this for 7 years. She was charged in the Rico, but she was charged there, but she had to cooperate because ultimately the government wanted to take out the cancer in the case. She wasn't the cancer. She was affected by the cancer, if that makes any sense. And they knew who to go to. And they saw the power structure in this organization. This was racketeering. This was an organized business. But the product was humans. So I don't care what connection I may have had in the past. But to know that you did that to these innocent human beings, you get no pass. No pass at all. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. It doesn't. So this was the worst. The worst. It was another case I covered. It wasn't Rico. They weren't doing Rico like in Georgia, but it was bad. But this one here, and I've decided that I'm going to be playing the video in my membership section. The rest of some of the trial, my membership, I'm not going to play it out in the public. I'm just going to keep, because right now I'm kind of want to, put this behind me, but I can't just put it behind me yet because there's an education to be learned from this. There's a real education to be learned from this. How did these young ladies get in this predicament? And what role can we in the industry play in curtailing stuff like this? I know some things. I know some things. I know some things. At some point, we have to be able to say, if you're using this music and other things to lure women into these type of situations, you're a cancer. And it got to stop. It got to stop. It got to stop. She couldn't even look at me in the courtroom. She knew I was there. She couldn't look at me. She couldn't look at me. So for those who are going to probably come out and say something silly about these victims, you should have listened to the evidence. You would be sick. You'll be sick. You'll be disgusted. They could just leave and walk. Man, when you hear some of this, you're going to say, what? They did what? It wasn't like they could have got out and walked away and, hey, let me catch a cab or something. They had the money. They had no resources. She controlled the spending, the girl spending, one of the girls spending. They had the cards. They would pay. They had a paper trail. The state had a paper trail. Fonnie Willis got down on this one and her team. They got down with this one. This was it was like, even the jail calls, like, you guys get on the phones and you'll be making these phone calls and think that they're not, they all monitored. They are monitored. They were able to intercept a witness tampering situation because of listening to the phone call. And when the prosecutor was telling the story about the Gwinnett were monitoring some phone calls, and they knew to get to the doctor's office to intercept Mama Cash and the victim to try to get the victim not to talk, they were right there. She walked right into a trap. She walked right into a trap, and they had her. They had her. It was like boom. And I want to correct something. The jurors didn't find her guilty of prostitution. She was accused of it, but the jurors didn't find her guilty of prostitution. So let's clear that up. She wasn't found guilty of prostitution. She was in an ad that was promoting the lifestyle, but they never had enough evidence. They didn't have a John or anything like that to tie into prostitution. But they got on sex trafficking. They got on sex trafficking. Never understood that, Miss HLS. I never understood that. Never understood that. So what I saw in the video, you guys probably picked it up. The minute the jurors were polled, the sheriffs moved right in and handcuffed everybody because they didn't want nobody running out of the courtroom or doing anything crazy. They had a lieutenant, and they had like 4 or 5 deputies in there. And they usually do that when they have these verdicts. Yeah, it's sad. It's no winners here. There's no. Well, maybe they are winners. The streets of Atlanta is a lot more safer. But as far as the victims, no. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely no winners. But I will be uploading the videos to my membership. Make sure you are, if you're a member, just turn your notifications on. But I'll have the videos up in my membership section, and you can look at some of if you have the stomach for it, you can listen to some of the what came out of the courtroom. Tamara Graham, and you know something? It's so much I want to say because I've had some long conversations with her, and something was always off for me. Something was off. Couldn't put my finger on it. Life. The R, just an R alone, is part of Georgia's 7 deadly sins. You get life for that. Then you got on top of Rico. Yeah, you get pretty much life. At least I don't think the judge is going to do that to the mother, but both the males, yeah, because they got the R. I'm going to say the mother may get 10 years. 10 years. That's still a lot of time. That's a lot of time. because you got the predicate act under the Rico, at least one, about 10 years. I appreciate the membership, guys. You can support the channel. You know, you can support it by either super chat, or you can cash app. Mod, post the cash app, please. Let me see if I have it here. There's a lot to unpack with this one. A lot. Boy. You know something? The judge may be in agreement with you. You know, the thing is, the son comes from a tree, father and mother. What the hell was happening? He got in the studio. He was connected. He had good connections. He was out there working. He was out there working. What happened? Got lazy, apparently. Just got lazy. You wanted to make the money off the backs of these innocent ladies, taking their money. I'm like, what the is going on? They came here, some of these women, for a different life, and got preyed on. Instead of being praying for, they got preyed on. Mm, 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 mm. So, if we're gonna, I don't know. This when you have this was a major loss for the attorneys in this case, but they had to work with what they had. It was the state had too much evidence against these individuals. So again, no case is the same. And I saw people saying that, well, there's another case coming down the pipeline, another Rico case. There's another one. But this is the first one. The first one since the APS that they get Rico convictions to all the defendants. The first one. And the first one in the state of Georgia on sex trafficking. Think about that. Think about that. And before, and don't go bashing the attorneys. They had to work with what they had. Like they didn't. They had to. Don't blame none of the attorneys. They had to work with what they had. This wasn't a case for them to win. It's just that's the fact. This was not a case for them to be able to win. And then while they fought for their clients, it's like, what do you give me something to work with? Give me something to work with. And as I look at those jurors' faces, they were not happy. But they took at least 24. Let's see. How much time did they spend on this case? They came back with a verdict around 4 something. They went to deliberation around. Let's see. Let me think here. 9. So they did about 8 hours, 10 hours. Ebony, I think he was a public defender in this case. I think he was a public defender in this case. I saw your question. I think he was a public defender in this case. Um, I want to say I don't know. I don't know if they, Mr. Matthew. Again, I'll find out. I don't know if that really is important because um, each of them have worked on RICO cases before. They all RICO trained. No, Miss HLS, not at all. Not at all. This is where it gets. I'm gonna have to do this, guys. I'm gonna have to post this. Hold on, stand by. Let me do something here. Let me do something here. Does this look like the face of someone? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hold on. This is the woman I met. Wait a minute here. What we got going on here? Hold on. What we got going on here? Hold on. I don't want that. Hold on. Take that away. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Hold on. This is the woman that I met. This is the woman that I met years ago. And came, she's very, very, very nice, always respectful, very nice to me. It was just, and this was a great photo shoot. We shot probably 2 looks. We shot about two looks. And she's like a tattoo model. She has a lot of tattoos. Very beautiful woman. And I'm not taking. She's a very beautiful woman. And she had street smart. One day I knew she had a lot of street smarts. But I never, to answer your question, Miss HLS, I never thought this ever. Neither one of them, for that matter. Listen. I'm on the video set of Cash Out's, and I have a picture I took of him. It was a nice sports car, and we were outside of the shoot, and I staged the shot. And it was a great shot. I'll find the shot, and I'll probably share it. Or I may make it a thumbnail for the story. But she said, I never heard of a tattoo model. Well, she had a bunch of tattoos. She was a model. She modeled in her tattoos. Yes. I never heard of a tattoo model. Well, she modeled in the tattoos. She had a lot of tattoos. She had more tattoos. She had sleeves and all that. She had a lot of tattoos. I when I say she was tatted up from anyway. I mean, someone said she looked hard in the trial. You listen. You would look hard in the trial if you facing that. Listen, and mind you, this was over 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you would look hard in the trial too if you looking down all those years. But she ain't looking hard here, and I'm sure the victims weren't looking hard either. I'm sure the victims weren't looking hard either. There is a vernacular that traffickers use. If you aren't in the life, it may go over your head. What is that, Ebony? Come on, educate us, Ebony. You know some things. Hold on a second here. Let me just drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link if you guys want to come up here and talk about this. I just dropped the link if you want to come up. Well, what I need you to do right now, I need you to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to drop the videos in the membership section of at Mr. Dennis Byron or Hip Hop Inquirer, or both of them. I'm gonna drop them in both the membership sections, just because of the nature of what it is. Typically these type of videos, they're not going to be floating on the internet like that. Some of you making comments. I want you to come up and talk about it because I see what you said, Jennifer. But I need some clarity here. What exactly are you trying to say? You have an opportunity to come up. The link is right there. The link is right there. The link is right there. Let's see here. Let me pin the link. Let me pin it. Let me pin it. Hold on. I pin it. Boom. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Uh, I never thought about that, Mike. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. It's not. It's definitely not sweet here. This Atlanta boy. They got some things going on out here, man. I did want to bring someone up. Stand by, guys. Hold on. Stand by. Guys, I got to grab my phone. I'm going to bring someone up. Stand by. If you guys want to click on the link, go ahead. But I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. I have a very special guest joining the show. Stand by. All right, guys, stand by. They're about to come on. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and supporting the platform. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm bringing the judge up. But we gotta turn the music off. I don't want to interrupt. Listen, when I bring her up, listen, you should give her a nice, warm welcome. Yes, she's here. Backed by popular demand. She's one of the best content creators out here. She's smart. I know she's very knowledgeable. She has a broad spectrum of wisdom, and she's just a cool person. She don't be doing that funny style stuff. She be coming in here and just dropping jewels. And before I bring her up, I want to get this. I got to get myself up here first. I can't have her up here and me not be up here. Where's my manners at? Let me get this up out of here. Now, listen, I'm about to get rid of this picture forever. Okay. I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope she's getting on the camera now. I hope she's getting on the camera. We'll see. Without any further ado, Judge Lala, a.k.a. Nyla says.
What is going on, Dennis? You are so silly.
What's going on, Nyla?
Nothing. You had me cracking up. With that intro. What's good? We lost power, so I'm kind of like a little. We had like a quick storm here. Flash flood warning and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard something about it.
Yeah,
about it.
The flooding can get pretty bad here.
You know, they had flooding in New York on the one train, like the subway.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy.
It was nuts. Crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Then I don't know if you saw the live where there was a rat that came into the press area where we was in the pit. It was a rat. It was a big fat rat that ran across. I heard some screaming, and then ran past me. I'm like, ah! But you know,
See, I can't. I
yeah,
would have a stroke with those rats are like there. Did you see any when you guys were out there?
absolutely.
Oh my
Listen,
god.
rats so big, the roaches are carrying switchblades in New York. That's how big. But listen, we're here for a very, very, very sad
Oh my
story.
god.
I don't know if you had the opportunity to see the video I played with the verdict.
Yeah, I got the first video. Yeah, it was look, I'm just glad to see that they didn't get away with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
She took one beating.
that was ugly.
It was about her taking a beating, and she couldn't take any more. Cops pulled them over, and she started talking. She started telling what's up. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. This one right here, and then having to know them. It's just so crazy. And someone asked me in the comment section, did I ever imagine that she would be a part of this? And the answer is no. How do you know these things?
Yeah, you would I mean, I would like to say that, people that we know on a day-to-day, even if we don't, see them all the time or whatever, we don't go home with them or whatever. Like, what I mean? I would like to be able to take for granted that people that we communicate with would never, but really you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't
Right.
know. And there was a time when and I still try to hold women in a higher esteem, right?
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to stuff like this. But what I've learned, which was like literally the basis for the book that I wrote, that women, when it comes to these types of situations, women are often catalyst. There will be no trafficking without a woman, right?
Mhm.
There's no, pimp with a fleet of women without another woman, to help him lure the women in, to help keep them in line. Women are instrumental in the the degradation and the subjugation of other women all the time.
And had that for his mother, who was his momager for his rap career, to be engaged and supporting this is just next level to me. Next level.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
the evidence was pretty strong from against him. It was very, very strong. It, and I would not even want to think that they had a part in this. But the evidence is so strong. It was like you're looking at two different people. But that's why you don't really know who people are in real life.
Hmm.
You know?
You don't. So, like, Dennis, let me ask you, because you met them, and I know, like, you weren't necessarily hanging out or whatever, but what is it knowing them now juxtaposed to today?
No, say that again.
What is it like knowing who they were when you met them and your
Mhm.
first impression based on what you heard in court?
It was it was like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like night and day. And while I knew her son professionally,
Mhm,
um, I knew her. I met her maybe 4, 5 years earlier, and he hadn't even had a career in rap. So it was different because she was
mhm,
trying to be a model in the business, and she came to me because she wanted to do a photo shoot. You know,
right.
I was the go-to guy, for shoots. One of the go-to guys. Uh,
Mhm,
and then we talked, and you get to talk to people. And she always wanted to be in the business.
mhm,
At first she didn't know how to manage artists, a artist. Um, and she asked me would I be interested in managing her son. And at the time I was representing someone else, and it would be a conflict because I was working with another a rap artist. So it would be a conflict for me. So
yeah,
and then I didn't even get an opportunity to meet him. So I wasn't going to manage someone I didn't even get a chance to get a feel of the person. But
yeah,
then I seen her years later, I'm invited to a video shoot for her son, and that's where I meet the Migos,
Mhm.
2 members of the Migos. And then I seen them again on and there's a video floating around that was sent to me a couple of days ago, where you can see, and I have the video, I can share with you, I can play it. But when I seen it, I'm like, wow, how did they go from that to that? And then if you know the area where they were taking these girls, it's a very, very seedy part of town.
Mhm.
But she didn't live in the seedy part of town. She lived in a nice area.
Wow. Wow. So every part of what they did to those girls was was exploitive. So they were running them they were running a sweat, like, did I hear right in your earlier not analysis, but when you first started talking about it, I don't know if I heard this right, but were they also trafficking males or trans? Did I hear that correctly? No,
No,
okay.
these
Okay.
are all women. They're all
Okay. When you said that they were trafficking someone from the other persuasion, what did you mean? Another race?
another race. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. There were at least two Caucasian woman, a young woman that was trafficked as well.
And because I was having to get some stuff together around here, I ended up having to get off when you brought up a machete.
Hmm.
What what is this with the machete?
So, in one of the crime scene photos, there was a machete that was kept on the floor, a very long one. You could probably chop a tree down with how big this machete was. And then there
Mhm.
was firearm ammunition on the dresser and drug paraphernalia when they went in to execute their warrant. So, and this is with the girls that would go into that room because this was the room that they would use to do whatever business they were doing,
Mhm.
or where he stayed at. Um, and then with the between the text messages and the not surveillance, but the jail phone, and then they had found a phone in there, and I think were they convicted. I think they were even convicted. They had a phone in there as well, so that was part of
Mhm.
the Rico. So they were communicating. And you want what I don't understand is, and this I never can understand. So many phones in jails, so many phones in jails. If you can get a phone in jail, can't you get a gun in the jail?
I would think so. I would think so. Because
So
it's I mean, it has to be going through, jail personnel some kind of way.
right, well
So, yeah, I would think so.
well they used to use drones in the state prisons in Georgia. They would have drones that would fly and bring in uh, different items.
Yeah, that's Nature Boy was getting, his quote unquote wives, they were doing that to him. They were sending drones with, like, phones and,
Oh, really?
I think they were giving him a lot of stuff when he was in Fulton County.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, no, well he was in DeKalb County.
DeKalb, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
DeKalb. Mhm.
yeah, I covered that one. That was an interesting trial.
Oh, you
It
were
was,
there?
yeah, I covered it. Yeah, I covered that trial. Yeah,
Yeah, his those women are still going strong for him too.
yeah. Oh my God, they were listen. Some of them got on the stand. Oh my goodness. They did a piece on. They used some of my coverage on Rolling Stone probably about 4 months ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know it was your covers, but I did see that they had an article up with them
And Rolling Stone, right?
on. Mhm.
Yeah, yes. Look at the article. It has I have a byline in it. Credit in it.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to read it, but I know that was part of the contract.
Dennis be all up. You be in everything.
Listen, some things I unfortunately like this here. Oh my goodness! Do you know how I felt when I heard about the charge? When I heard that they indicted him and her, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. As
Wow.
I was in court looking at my text messages that she and I communicated. Um, it was one message where she wanted me to come out to this event that they were doing, and she was taking care of dad. And so I know this has got her hurt because of her father had did some major time and just got home.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's just all bad. And the saying, hurt people, hurt people, hurt others.
That's true. That's true. That is so true. But like I have no. I hope they get everything that they got coming to them.
I know,
Both of them.
I know you
Both
do.
of them. Yeah. So what about the cousin? Wasn't there a cousin that was involved in this?
Well,
The Tyrone. Yeah.
yeah, Tyrone Taylor was the other defendant. I don't know if was he related, but
Yeah.
he also,
That's the cousin.
oh, okay, yeah, then he
He's a
definitely,
cousin. Hmm.
yeah, he was accused of bringing one of the white girls to cash out on Mr. Gibson. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So is he involved anyway? Like with did he get charged or
Oh
anything?
yeah. You didn't see the second video.
I didn't get this. No, I didn't. I didn't see the second video. I think that might have been when the power was out here.
Yeah, for those who are joining in, I'm going to play a little bit for Nyla because she didn't get a chance to see it. Oh.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. We, Marlene Leffridge. Count 1, conspiracy to violate Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. Your verdict I'm sorry. So now you may start reading the actual.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As a conspiracy to violate subsection A, the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 2, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant not guilty. Count 10, rape. We find the defendant guilty. Count 12, aggravated sodomy. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 14, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant not guilty. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find defendant guilty. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 24, aggravated assault. We find the defendant not guilty. On the lesser count of battery, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 25, possession of firearm or knife during commission of Marlene Leffridge.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Marlene Leffridge. The jury find the defendant guilty. Count 30, simple battery. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 42, keeping a place of prostitution. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Count 45, possession of prohibited items by inmate or providing prohibited item to the inmate. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
That was the phone.
All right, before you go further, I believe you missed count 23.
Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant guilty.
Okay, and if you'll finish out the date. The last page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The 18th day of July 25th. My signature. Richard Brown.
All right. All right, if you'll move on to the next verdict. Form, yep.
State of Georgia versus Linda Smith, aka Morenika Vinnie and Mama Cash Out. Indictment number 23 SC 186464, Judge Leffridge. Number 1, count conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. As to the conspiracy to violate subsection A of the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As the conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 36, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We find the defendant guilty. Count 38, prostitution. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. This 18th day of July 25th, Richard Brown.
All right. And if you'll move on to the third verdict form.
State of Georgia versus Tyrone, Orlando Taylor, aka Ruski, indictment number 23 SC 186464. Judge Lethbridge. Conspiracy to violate Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, Georgia RICO Act. As to conspiracy to violate subsection A of the Georgia RICO Act, we find the defendant guilty. As to conspiracy to violate subsection B of the Georgia RICO Act, we find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, unanimously agree that at least one defendant committed at least one overt act. Yes. Count 9, rape. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 11, aggravated sodomy. We find the defendant guilty. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. 16, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. 17, pandering by compulsion. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 18, possession of cocaine. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 19, tampering with evidence. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 20, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers by use of threats or violence. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 21, pimping. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. This 18th day of July 2025, Richard Brown.
All right. Counsel, is there anything for this jury further?
Yes, Your Honor. Mike with the jury poll.
All right. All right, ladies.
So we ain't gonna listen to a polling, but
Wow.
so he wasn't found guilty of the pimping, but Cash Out was.
Yeah. I don't like. I don't know. I feel like she was pimping too. I feel like she was doing it too. I don't know how much difference that would make in her sentencing or whatever, but I feel like yeah.
Let me just tell you about
I
this
feel
judge.
like she was the judge.
Big judge. She be throwing the book at people.
I mean, I would never need to be a judge in a case like this because, like, everybody would get the maximum sentence. Like, they would know if you in front of Judge Lala. Okay, you getting anything possible, whatever. If there's 100-year sentence possible for what you did, if it's these kind of crimes, you going. You going.
Someone said that Taylor gave Hoover the side eye. I mean, listen, Hoover had to work with what he had. This is not, you can't really bash the attorneys. They have to work with what they have.
Yep.
And I realize that, if you don't have a good hand to play,
Man.
it's like playing a game of spades, and all you have is a suit of reds. Well, depending how you play. Well, you ain't gonna beat me on those suit of reds if I got 6 to 8 spades. But my point is, you gotta have a good hand. You gotta have some high cards. They had no high cards. They had no big cards to play.
Yeah.
And we know from my previous coverage of even Ernesto's case, the prosecutor Winfrey, she changed her hair. She threw me off there because her hair wasn't that way. She was cooking on her closing. I'm like, whoa, this is first big one. This is the first time in Georgia history they got a conviction, sex trafficking conviction under Rico.
Wow. And a sister did it. Good job to her. Good job to her. Cause like it's crazy. Look, I remember so when this story first broke, when he first got arrested or indicted and all this kind of stuff, Taz had did a video about it. I didn't know who he was.
Shout out to
Cash Out
Taz.
guy,
Ladies and
whatever.
gentlemen, shout out to Taz. Where Taz at?
Where is Taz? Let me see. Is he might be in his man cave. But he knew more about he knew because like when I told him about it, he was like, I covered that all. He was like, I covered that. He was like, it's good to know that people let me tell him to come on. Let me see.
Because he knows he knows a little about this stuff. So yeah, tell him come
Yeah,
on.
he does. Yeah, let me tell him to come on. Hold on, Dennis. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna run back there and tell him because his phone is always dead.
Okay.
Let me tell him. All right.
Don't. So I'm looking at the comments. You're too much in the comment section. Listen, let me tell you something. Don't give Hoover a hard time. I know some of you was giving Hoover a hard time because Hoover. Wait, hold on. Hoover. I saw him in the cafeteria. I spoke to him and everything. But this guy putting in that work. He's putting in that work. I don't. Again, each case is different. This case is a lot different than the Nesto case. And the evidence is not the same. But he has another one. This is, these Ricos, you can't be, and then he wasn't the only one that was a part of Rico. The Matthew son and father was on this case as well.
Yeah,
So,
I'm back. He's coming back here. Listen, when Taz first told me about it, right? And I was like, I didn't pay that much attention because I didn't know who the rapper was or whatever, but I knew it sounded crazy, especially because it was a mom involved. I went to his Instagram and I was like, oh, he did it.
oh
And
my
so
God.
did she. I remember saying, I was like, oh, they did this. They did this. Because I mean, they were all but advertising that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They were all but advertising it all.
I didn't know that. Like
Oh, it honey, it was something like when you follow their social media footprint, there is you would come to that conclusion even if they never got indicted that's what they were doing.
Wow.
You know who I feel like is gonna it's bad to say because I know that it's being represented as a relationship and it probably is, but I suspect that sometimes that's how it is because I think that it might have happened that way with some of these girls. Let me ask you, did it happen that way? Were some of the girls under the impression or thought that they were in a relationship with him?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so you got all this push for like this ghetto polygamy and all of this stuff pardon?
What's all that about?
Look, just a sexual deviance. As soon as these Negroes get a little money or whatever, they want 500 women, especially if they're ugly as hell and didn't have women before. When they get money and they get access to them, they want 15 at a time, I guess, to make up for the women that didn't want them back in the day. Watch Neo catch a charge.
Neo? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Watch him catch a charge. I'm telling you, watch him catch a charge. It may be a couple of years from now, or maybe watch Neo end up catching a charge.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my! I thought that was all a gimmick. Like,
oh no, it's real. I've got some exclusive tea spilling on them Monday. But
wow.
yeah, he's gonna end up. He's going to catch a charge. I'm telling you. If you really think about it, there is no example of any of these celebrity men or celebrity adjacent men who are known for this stuff that don't end up in a trafficking situation or some sort of criminal case surrounding those women. That one guy, I hate it because his name is Taz. Taz's Angels. I know you heard of them, right?
Why did I hear that? I heard that before. Where did I hear that?
Taz's Angels. So the first time I heard of it, okay, I'll tell you the first time I heard of it, which is pretty bad. So one of the girls actually used to date Young Thug. And she was one of the girls that visited him while he was locked up. but she's now okay. So she was one of her and her sister both were in a relationship with this guy named Taz, and he just basically is known for having a bunch of beautiful women that are his girlfriends, kind of like Nature Boy, kind of or whatever. But I guess it's like a hip hop version, and so he'll like call them all his wife or whatever. So it was a set of sisters, and one of them was dating Thug. I think she's got a baby now by a basketball player. But they were known for like just being on the party scene or whatever. He's catching little cases and stuff like that. They all eventually do.
What is
they all eventually do?
You say it's okay.
Yeah, because I will never forget. I was live one time with Cynthia G, and we were discussing something, and everybody know my husband's name is Taz. And people do like to troll, and someone came in the chat, and their name was something, and it said Taz Angel next to it, and it was actually one of the Taz Angels girls. But people were like, "Is she talking about Taz?" But I knew who the Taz's Angels were. She was just one of those girls.
But
yeah, watch them catch cases behind this stuff. And I was really interested. I'm definitely going to do a breakdown on this. He was a promoter of Shahrazad Ali. She promotes to, Black women that we need to be accepting of the polygamous lifestyle and a swift smack in the mouth, and he was promoting her. So, yeah.
I don't know if I remove that. Okay. I want to add something to the stage. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to play this here. I'm always going to play my own team before someone else play it. Hold on. Okay. Oh, I can't hear the sound. It is the video. Let me speed. Fast forward.
Mama Cash show. Oh yeah, that's the Mama Cash show. That's what's up.
Mama Cash show.
See all this?
Amazing.
I'm about to Louis Vuitton.
No sound apparently.
You on the Mama Cash show? The only thing we see was Mama Cash. We drove by. What did you? None of these bars. That's gonna be the situation. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna
Those
be
are my younger
situation,
days.
Where you can be in a mall, you can be like in New York City. She's gonna stand out in the crowd. I mean, so that's.
I was saying some good shit. I don't know what I was saying.
Hollywood, the Hollywood side. Oh yeah, she's on top of the Hollywood side.
Oh, maybe it sounds like.
She's not even. She's on top of the Hollywood side. So when you're on the West Coast, look out for the Hollywood side, and you might see it on top.
But yeah, someone sent this to me.
Yeah.
This was a video shoot. Cash Out was on it with Gucci. This is a Gucci Man's video shoot.
Okay. We'll get ready for scene 2, and then after we wrap that up, we'll be heading to the second location at the mansion.
And she was on the set. And I knew it years earlier. So she was just doing the. Gucci Man. And obviously I actually shot Gucci.
That's the chunky Gucci.
That's the chunk. Oh, that's
He's been on his grind for a couple of years.
Yeah, he got the microphone. I was working.
Yes, but all of a sudden he was just like out there. What do you attribute that to?
A blessing from the Lord.
But that's just
in the streets,
a little background there.
Facing like about 15 years in jail. And I prayed on it, the jury.
Someone sent that to me, and I wasn't even in the title or anything. Someone just found it. I didn't know that video was even out there. So whoever was doing behind the scenes.
Patience, December 18th.
Where'd it go?
It's crazy.
Huh?
I hear it, but I don't see it anymore. Did you remove it?
Crazy.
Can you hear it?
Patiently
I can
wait.
hear it, but I
Patience,
can't
December
see it.
18th.
How you hearing? I can't hear it. That's weird. You can hear it? The sound?
You can't shout. Yeah. Everything.
Now, yeah.
You heard it all that time?
Yeah.
I don't hear
Hey,
anything.
Pam. Pam says she must be old because she don't know any of these people. Look, when Taz told me about it when he was covering, I didn't know these people. I definitely didn't know these people.
That's weird. You can hear it. I can't hear it. That's crazy.
You could, yeah, I could hear it.
I heard nothing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Literally heard nothing. So what was I saying?
I'm about to Louis Vuitton.
Can everyone hear this? really can't hear nothing. I don't know if it's my setup.
I hear music mostly.
Okay. Well, it's sure not playing on my end.
I
I
made
don't know
this.
what
I
that's all
made
about.
I'm about to Louis Vuitton.
You always got like
How's
You on the
my mic?
Monica Cash
My mic
show?
is
Your
good?
computer volume down?
That's gonna be the situation. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be the situation where you could be in a mall, you could be like in
I'm on
New
a
York City.
big
shit,
board
stand
here.
out
Hold on.
loud.
Maybe
so
can we
that's
hit that button?
you know that sign in Hollywood, the Hollywood sign. Oh yeah, she's on top of the Hollywood.
So that's
She's not even.
That's weird. Do you hear me talking at
So
all?
when you're in the West Coast,
I can hear you talking, but it's kind of like
Over the music.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll hear it on the playback. In any event, I'm not hearing anything through my mic.
yeah, they hear it too.
Yo,
We're
what?
gonna get ready for scene 2, and then after we wrap
You
that
can
up,
hear,
we'll
but
head into
can't
the second
see.
location at the
You
main
can't see it because I.
mansion.
That's weird. Now, what you got going on? Oh, let's see here. Okay. Gucci. Oh, I got some throwback Gucci now. I got some throwback.
Well, he's been on his run for a couple of years now.
2.5 years.
2.5 years, but all of a sudden he was just like out there. What do you attribute that?
Molly, you here?
A blessing from the Lord. You know, he was in the streets, you know, facing like about 15 years, 15 years. And I prayed on it. You know, the jury, they gave him a second chance. They was like, you know, okay, make something out of yourself. You know, and here he is. Number one in the country, on his thing, nonstop. He's not a one-hit wonder.
That's
He's
weird. All right. Well, I'll go back and play. I hadn't even looked at it, but someone sent it to me.
It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy. Patiently wait. Patience, December 18th. You already know. Follow me on Twitter at The Real Cash Shout.
Maybe on the playback, I'll get a chance to see it.
Everything you need to know.
Okay, shout out to Swag News, who's on the set apparently. Let me get that down out of here. Remove that. Okay. All right. Well, glad you guys heard it because I didn't hear.
Yeah, we could hear it. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you couldn't hear it.
No, I can hear anything. Is Pam in here?
Yeah, she was just in the chat. She was in the chat.
Pam. What up, Pam? Pam just broke the breaking. Well, Pam broke the Shannon Sharp on YouTube. He settled.
Yeah.
Of course, you know he's going to settle.
Of course, he's gonna settle. How much did she get out of him?
She got something.
Mm-hmm.
Got something. White girl too.
I know she got at least. She probably got 20 mil.
I don't think she got $20 million.
You don't?
Nah, I don't think she got 20 million. She probably got 5.
I bet she got 20.
Listen, $5 million. She said, "Screw my attorney told me about wait. No. We want the $5 million. I want you to pay my attorney fees." And just $5 million. But you got to change your behavior because if you do it, you still listen. You can't listen. I don't know if even a contract at this point will help. Like, should there be a contract going in? Listen,
the thing is, she refused. Remember, in the court paperwork, I think I still got it on my computer. She always refused to sign any and she refused to sign any agreements.
Oh.
She wasn't doing it. Yeah, let me see.
She was
searching my computer. Yeah, so she was refused. I mean, but I think most women will refuse. So I don't think that that's a smoking gun, but that should have been letting him know that.
Listen, I don't know about that. Most will refuse. If you tell them, listen, this is
refuse to sign. Ain't nobody signing shit. Most women ain't gonna sign no prenup, let alone no agreement before they have sex with someone. Yeah, they're not doing it.
We need the laws to change.
Here we go.
Where Taz at?
He said he was on his way, or maybe let me see if he was.
Hold on, I got some. Is that Taz? I don't know if he may be on his own channel. Hold on. I think this is Taz.
Where? Oh, he's up here already? Oh, there you go.
Taz, why are you naming it Taz? Your name's not even said. I knew it. I saw the face. Said that has to be Taz. What up, man?
What up, though?
Where you at, man? Where you at? See, I didn't even know that was you. I didn't know that was you. You throw me off. I got the judge and the goat.
What's up, man? What's going on?
Man, that Rico. I seen the Rico in this one. I didn't see in the other one, but I see in this one.
Yeah, I mean that he ain't the first one though, man. It's a lot of rap crews been going down on these Ricos. A lot of them just don't have the notoriety. But that it's kind of a thing that's been going on the past 2 years. A bunch of the smaller ones that ain't really did nothing yet, little local labels and whatnot, all across the country though, man. They just, these girls, and what they do is they try to use their proximity to the industry to trick the girls to come and trick for them and make them into prostitutes and all that. And they just telling them, you know what I'm saying? They got 15-year-old girls and all that. It's normal now, man. It's crazy.
So this thing's been going in this case, Gibson or Cash Out was accused of using his record label to lure the girls in.
Yeah. And it's so many of them, though. Like I say, it's like the new thing to charge them with the Rico, but it is because they've been able to get away with it. They've been moving around so many years doing this with the girls in the videos. So it's like the Rico is kind of the only way to get them with it.
So hold on, Nyla just said, and I'm not. Listen, this is all ledge. So you think Neo's going to? Because Neo's heavily connected in the music industry. Do you see something similarly happening with him?
I said Neo or Trey Songz. And it's based on like a lot of the allegations. You know what I'm saying? Like Diddy's allegations turned into a case. Trey Songz got so many allegations. I'm surprised he didn't get the case first. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I think is, you know what I'm saying, on the next on the chopping block. Just because how many people talk about the things that they've been through with it.
So the contrast in the case involving Mr. Combs is that there was no pimping. In this case, there was pimping. There was no trafficking. In this case, there was clear trafficking. In his case, there was no weapons. There was some assault. There was no weapons per se, because we saw weapons, but that was in the safe, and the jurors didn't buy that. But in this case, there was a machete and there was a firearm in plain view in a place where there were drugs, and it was a trap house, and it was a house of prostitution. So that you can't use a broad brush in these cases. You have to look at each individual and see what comes closest. And when I saw this one, I said, this sounds more like Rico than,
He was Cash Out was clear cut. I think they was trying to reach with the Diddy case in a lot of ways, because when it comes to who you gonna prosecute, you have to prosecute everybody involved. Once they established Cassie's involvement and she had immunity, they was working uphill from there. Like I said, I view Cassie as a victim, but no matter what, you have to establish that she was also a participant. You can't make her totally a victim. I think that's the main reason.
They didn't do that. And in this case, there was the star witness. She was charged, but then she was also they dead docketed her situation.
Right. Yes. They're supposed to charge you and let you get your testimony. Then we'll go ahead and shoot you your immunity, and you won't go to jail. We'll drop your case, whatever. But they were supposed to get the testimony out of Cassie as a defendant, not as a witness.
That's right.
And bring in your you bring in your sex workers and all that to talk about them doing it, and then you can get Diddy. You know what I'm saying? But that's just I don't know why they did that. I mean, the feds is usually they're pretty tight in their cases, but they kind of blew it on that one.
Yeah, listen, they were trying to. First of all, they had a quote unquote enough to show I don't know about racketeering, but in this case, you had at least 4 individuals. One that was the star witness, and the other ones were 3 defendants. In Puff's situation, it was just him by himself. They didn't charge none of the employees. They didn't charge I'm like, this guy was on the island by himself, and they were trying to sell this to the jury. The jurors, they were trying to sell it, and it wasn't being sold. But in this case, it was pretty clear cut, but based on different testimony, and the cousin was brought in, the white chick, to show cash out that he can procure his own, but they didn't charge him with pimping because he brought the woman, excuse me, I always use a chick, brought the young lady to Gibson, and Gibson had him bring the money back to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting though, man. Because I remember when that case broke, like I said, it wasn't a lot of people interested in it though. Dennis, I think people kind of got who Cash Out was. He only really had a couple songs that made it like that. So I think he kind of disappeared off the radar. People forgot who he was when the case happened, when nobody really paying attention to it. But it was kind of clear cut from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really a doubt from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You put women out there and they're going to tell eventually, bro. These ain't prostitutes. These are women that you put into prostitution to work at your label to you know what I'm saying, benefit from you, and you're forcing them. They're going to tell eventually. So I just, you know what I'm saying, I didn't think that he ever had a chance.
Yeah, well, this one, the one that was with him for 7 years, so she told everything, and they knew that they were trying to get to them, and they wanted to, as the prosecutor was telling the story, they wanted to get rid of her. Now, what that looked like, I don't know. Did they want to send her out the country? But they wanted to get rid of her because she held the key to their freedom. She held the key.
That was the tampering with a witness case.
Yes.
Yeah, I seen they added that on there a little later.
Yeah, they did, and what happened was they heard through a jail call that Gibson was telling his moms to go, pull up on her. She was going to a physical therapist appointment, and they intercepted the call. And when she got there to meet up with her, the sheriffs were there waiting for her to get there. So they got caught in the parking lot. Like, what? Yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. And so
was everybody of age?
I think they were. I think they were. I think everyone was of age. Okay. It was no minors in the case.
Man.
But Taz, Atlanta has a very serious sex trafficking problem.
Yeah.
Very, very big one.
Is it worse than here?
I don't. Well.
Wait, Atlanta's trafficking is worse than Las Vegas?
Yeah, because it's legal there, isn't it?
It's legal it's legal outside of the I forgot what the your sound is being distorted, babe.
Okay, trafficking ain't legal, but it's worse in the bigger cities.
Not trafficking, of course, that's not legal. But okay, I see right.
But compared to Atlanta's a bigger city, so I would say it's worse there.
We have a very big airport. Very big airport. But it was probably easier for them they went to the most seedy part of town to do their business. So you have the Fulton County Police, not the APD, but the Fulton County Police, and they patrol up and down. I want to say, I forgot what that strip is. Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Yeah, that's the strip. So yeah, it's pretty seedy over in certain parts of that area. So they're gonna pull cars over anyway. If you're a trick or you're a pimp, you eventually gonna get pulled over. Or if you a worker, right? Fulton Bible, right? That's right. Fulton Industrial. Yeah. Am I lying? Bible? Isn't it a pretty seedy part of town? It's an industrial area. That's why they have a whole police station down there. Yeah, is it because of the airport in Atlanta? Well, Atlanta's an international airport, so you people are getting trafficked from out of the country, and it's just bad. And then listening to this particular case and the closing argument and everything, wow, these guys was, and you you guys saw things online, because I really didn't follow Linda or Mama Cash on social media. I really wasn't looking at her page like
Oh,
that.
her page is I mean, it's not something that you would think a woman her age that you would look, at their social media and see, but it's definitely giving geriatric hood booger
Mm.
for sure.
Someone said it's been that way for years.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
always been that way.
Oh, well, I remember Stewart Avenue. See, there you go. See, she talking about Stewart Avenue. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And you talk about all the strip clubs down there. Yeah. And it's the other thing. It's a lot of strip clubs out here. And that's like going to Waffle House, strip clubs. You got Magic City, you got Gold Club, you got a lot of strip clubs out here. It's pretty big in even in the culture, hip hop, because a lot of rappers break their songs in these clubs. I
Yeah.
know producers that take their song to the club and break it at the strip club.
So my point of view of this is I feel like what he's doing probably has happened a lot over the years. We just didn't know it. When
Mm.
women want to, break into the industry and they're vulnerable, don't have a lot of money, um, you know, and you've got predatory people around, this is what can happen, right? So I feel like what's happening is we're just in a new era where people realize that you can tell,
Mm.
and that you're more prone to get support if you want to get out, and so it's happening.
Mm.
It's just
Well,
happening. I feel like it's been happening all the time though.
so think about this. They have a sentencing hearing on Monday. I don't know if they're going to get sentenced that day. Typically, sentencing comes pretty quickly in Georgia. It was one time I covered a murder trial, and the judge sentenced him right there after the verdict came in. I think it was like 15 minutes later. It's time for sentencing. 25 years.
Wow.
But this judge is, I guess they're gonna have to prepare, because the judge is not gonna wait. Typically when you get convicted, they're not keeping you in the county jail at this point. They give you sentence and shipping you down the road.
No, this judge, Miss Melanie, she's not playing with nobody.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She is not playing with nobody.
She called me up.
Okay.
I don't know. She called me up to the podium, not the podium, but yesterday when I was in the courtroom, because it was an issue about the Rule 22 again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I never covered her cases before. And she had said to me, she said, Mr. Byron, she got burned. She got burned before with another media outlet, and they were live streaming this type of case. And I know just by doing this business, you don't live stream these type of cases. You go back and you edit, because you can't catch something, or you can't unring the bell once the video is out there. So a major news outlet did that. That's why you hadn't seen the stream, because she kicked them out the courtroom. They couldn't come back. She snatched their rule. So she said, listen, read my rule. I have a very strict rule, Rule 22. He said, make sure you familiarize yourself, because mine is not like every other judge. So when I looked at it, I said, oh yeah, she's serious. And she just said, do not burn me. What she meant basically is don't do things that you can't put victims' names and all that stuff out there and do the crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some people think that, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's in the paperwork. But no, it does matter, because there's some people that don't read paperwork and just watch videos. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
only to have someone. Do you think there are going to be some consequences for this?
I don't know. That's the thing. It ain't gonna be
like this is getting too redundant and too how is it that you literally bump heads with every single judge as a blogger?
It's just
like really honestly, it definitely is a privilege when they allow the Rule 22, right? Because they don't have to. But how you have been literally called out and had your didn't they like kind of did they remove her Rule 22 for like a day or so before? If memory serves or something like that when
I try, it was like a nightmare for me. I try to put that stuff behind me. I don't be having those problems. Like, don't be having those issues. That's
Yeah.
like what and I listen. And right now, she is the only. Well, I won't say like right now because you had other people that came in. I was about to say YouTubers, but no, there are other YouTubers that have come in and covered that county, but not on a regular. So I don't want, because it don't take one person to spoil a good thing going. Like it only takes one person, and the media outlets are even with this footage, they're very careful. They want to be careful because they don't want to violate the judge's order. So the judge had to literally bring people up and read the riot act. Like this is this. I don't know what you did with that judge, but we all different, and I understand that. We learned that with Mr. Donaway, Judge Donaway, and the way he does things. I guess they spoiled me early on because I didn't really have to worry about stuff like this. I go in, shoot the trial, and no issues. I know what I could do, I couldn't do, and now people bringing phones and streaming on TikTok and all. Judges don't like that. They don't really like that stuff on TikTok because it's not. They're used to traditional media not showing gavel to gavel coverage of their whatever they're doing in the courtroom. So they also know they're under the watchful eye of the public. So they just want responsible people in there, just know what to do with the camera. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a mess. Ebony says, Nyla, please do an X trafficking 101. I would love to participate. It's crazy. Like, I'm not the expert. Taz is literally the expert. He did a whole documentary, X trafficking, I think nationwide or worldwide. I think he did every single state. You did every state, right?
Really?
You did. Oh, you did the intro. Yeah. So he did like nationwide. I mean, but I would love to do that. Huh?
Yes, I did the world and the state.
Okay. I know you did it for
what that's about.
Say it again.
What's that about? Tell me what was your research about?
So the premise of it was to kind of lend credence to this idea about pimping and whatnot being problematic, not just because of what it is, but because a lot of men today don't understand that what you're doing is no longer called pimping. What you're doing now is called human trafficking. Then when they see a human trafficking charge, they don't understand why that charge is there. So the purpose was to go through each of the 50 states and show how the laws have changed and how they're continuing to change based on not necessarily prosecuting the victims anymore. It's not just about getting the prostitute off the streets and giving her a criminal record. Now they want the people who paying them. They want the people who running them. So it's less about punishing the prostitute and more about punishing those who have, put them out there on the streets or whatever. So across the 50 states, you'll find that the laws have changed in regard to what was historically known as being a pimp. You know what I'm saying? Now you're just a human trafficker. It's very, very few pimping and pandering laws left. Most of them folded into human trafficking.
That sounds I don't know why that sounds more sinister. It sounds more sinister than pimping. Human trafficker sounds
I'll
like.
tell you why. Really pimping should sound as sinister, right? And I think that
I don't know if I should say sinister. It just sounds more.
I know what you mean. It sounds a lot. It sounds harder. It
Right.
sounds, and you know why? Because we've been conditioned to joke about pimping. We've been conditioned. You think about it. Pimping, especially, I'm from Chicago, right? Where pimping is literally a part of the culture. So it was nothing when I lived in Chicago to walk into a party and Don Juan was there.
Right. Yeah.
Or these different these different play and they're welcome there by people. You know what I'm saying? Like I was looked at bad when I refused to let he just would come into an event thinking that he can come in with all his women and stuff and I was never nice or welcoming and I was looked at as the bad guy before. And this was maybe about 14 years ago when he was trying to enter a party. And it's like, no, nobody's supporting that, but they treat them like their loyalty. So I think the transition to the word trafficking is good, because pimping, think about it. We got music pimping ain't easy, and and all this kind of stuff, but nobody really pays attention. Like when you see all these photos of, let's say, Don Juan in the roles and with all his rings and stuff, and you see photographs of those women are dead. None of those women are alive. You know what I'm saying? And again, coming from Chicago, you see those pictures, you'll know the family that woman came from, and then will tell you the story of what happened and how he got her and what happened and all this kind of stuff. But nobody wants to talk about the downside. Pimping in Black culture is glamorized. It's it's cool even. You know what I mean? And I would even say, to some extent, there was a time when, maybe in the 60s and the 70s where being a prostitute didn't necessarily on the surface look bad, because those were the women walking down the street. At least when I was a kid, because I'm a little bit older. When I was a kid, you knew that those were the quote unquote ladies of the night, right? But those were also the ladies that you saw with the fur coats on and the nice outfits, and they smelled good, and they were nice, and they always had candy for you and stuff like that. It's been glamorized in our culture. We never even thought about the fact that those women were getting beaten. And because, as a child, you don't know what's really going on. You don't realize that she has a quota and, all this kind of stuff. It's all, I think we make light of serious things.
And we've seen that in this trial too. The quota, they had to make a certain amount of money. And yeah, we've seen that heavy in this case. That was pretty prevalent in the testimony, and how they had to, gave him, you had to bring $600 in this day. You couldn't come in if you didn't have this kind of money. So yeah.
Ebony just said something, and I think that she said that, in my opinion, trafficking in 2025 for our community is what the crack epidemic was in the 80s. Wow. That's crazy, but it's a lot more prevalent than what people think. It definitely, it's really disgusting.
So, Taz, what do you know? What state started cracking down and making the changing the pimping? I guess the pimping laws to more trafficking or more human trafficking. What was the state? What state was that made that took the lead on that?
You know what? I really didn't look at it through that lens. So I would have to kind of go back and do some research to see what state kind of jumped out there to change those laws first. Like I say, that's just being honest with you, because a lot of it is just in the past 15 years that it's all kind of just morphed into, we ain't talking about pimps, we talking about human traffickers. And so that, I didn't really research it from that angle at all. I was more so looking to draw the delineation between states that don't use that language and states that do. And yeah, there's not many more states that use, might be 5 states that use pimping still, because the old charge was pimping and pandering. So they just don't use that language no more. But yeah, I'll go and see what I can find on that, maybe do a video on that as well.
So what if the person don't have a pimp? Is it still human? If they doing it themselves, what is that considered then? If they don't have a pimp and they're doing it?
So that's going to be sex trafficking though, because what they did keep illegal is the transfer of money for the sexual act. So still, she can't traffic herself. You're still illegal to traffic yourself. So you're still sex trafficking. You know what I'm saying? And prostitution is still a charge as well. Prostitution ain't going nowhere as a charge. That'll always stay a charge. But it's the way they're dealing with those who, was controlling the women and beating them and, you know what I'm saying, taking their money and whatnot. So that's why that part will always be there as well. the transfer of money is always now going to be considered trafficking. So that, because that's kind of how they tried to loop the Diddy thing. And money transfer must be trafficking. You know what I'm saying? There's more to it. It's more nuanced than that. And he had the right lawyers to play the games with the language, because there are nuances once you get down beyond the surface level. Because at the surface level, money was transferred. It's trafficking. Yeah, but you got to get down in there and look at more details too. It ain't just as easy to look on the surface.
And in his case, it was pretty much cash. Everything was cash.
And it's not him giving the cash.
Right.
I mean, that's a problem in a trafficking case.
It wasn't.
You have to be giving the cash. Go ahead.
No, I was saying you were talking about how the trafficking situation, the language and stuff, changed, and how it can like kind of get a little tricky. So that's a good point, because in California, pimping and pandering still are technically separate charges unless the victim is under 18. But I don't know if the sentencing or I don't know if, if you get convicted of pimping, is it similar to a trafficking charge? You know what I'm saying? Because like pimping used to be lightweight as far as, sentencing, right? It didn't used to be that bad.
It started getting worse over the years. Because they wanted a deterrent. Because if pimps were getting serious time, like in Georgia, then pimping wasn't easy. It would be, the judges here were given some serious time, 5 years and more. They weren't doing it. Sometimes, like back in the day, a pimp would probably get maybe a misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm.
That's since changed. Back in the day, it was like misdemeanors. Hey, slap on the wrist, let them out. No one was doing no serious time.
Now, what I don't understand, I really don't understand how come Mama Cash Out, or whatever we calling her, I don't understand how come she didn't get the guilty charge for that. Because in Georgia, it's supposed to be like if you recruit or you coerce, that's trafficking.
She got Rico, so she's still in Rico. They found her guilty of Rico.
She still got the Rico, but didn't it say that she didn't get found guilty of the trafficking part?
She got trafficking on one of them, not all.
On one of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
so she got trafficking too.
Okay.
Yeah, so she definitely, because there were multiple victims, and so there were multiple trafficking charges on each for each victim, and she didn't have a hand in one situation, but they said she had a hand in another situation. So she definitely got trafficked as well.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get prostitution, and that was the prosecutor's claim, because she was
prostituting too. Oh, that's right, because they said that he was trafficking her as well. I believe that she was trafficking, that she was quote unquote hoeing as well. I believe she was. Because see, the other girls, in my opinion, were being trafficked and pimped. His mama was hoeing. I don't think she was coerced or doing anything that she didn't want to do. That's just my opinion.
It's a lot there to unpack. A lot there to unpack.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
When is his sentencing?
They have a sentencing hearing Monday at 10 a.m. Sentencing hearing.
Man, that's great.
Yeah, they ain't doing an October 3rd type. They're not doing that. The judge is not doing that. Plus, they don't. Once you have these type of charges that you're convicted of, they're ready to pack you up and ship you out. They're not keeping you in Fulton County jail. They send you down the road or wherever you got to go. Yeah, their classification just went up.
Yeah.
And did you see how Cash looked when they were? He had his glasses on throughout the whole trial. He took them off there when they were talking about the verdict. The guilty verdict.
Yeah, I was looking at Cash. He was like he looked fried. He looked like, I'm fried. And what's his name? Tyrone or whatever. I don't know his
Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, he looked like he was pissed.
What do you think he's gonna do? Swing on somebody? Because they put those cuffs on him quick. You said they could throw the cuffs on him?
That's how he was looking, though. He looked like he needed to be cuffed.
I saw. Shout out to Lieutenant Gibson. I see you back there. I've known Lieutenant Gibson for years, when he was a sergeant. I think before he was even a sergeant, he's been there. They usually bring the top brass in there when they have a verdict like this, and they had like 5 of them in the courtroom. Yeah, they have 5 of them. They don't play that because you know what happened with Brian Nichols. From that point, they've changed the security protocol.
Yeah, that is Atlanta. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they don't play that. They were all. You saw how they all converged at one time. I'm like, damn. No, this is different. Once you get that verdict, it's a different conversation. Different
Jay
conversation.
Jammin said, "Did Nasto's lawyer lose again?" Of course.
Oh my God! See, listen, Mr. Hoover, I know you can't win them all, and this one wasn't the one to win. Listen. I don't want no smoke with you. You try to give me some smoke there, man. I don't want no smoke with you. I don't want no.
He tried to give you some smoke. No.
We, when you remember when we were in the courtroom and he was talking about.
When they tried to when he brought us all up in court.
Yeah.
He was talking about how we were. Well, I forgot what he said. I did. What he said my profession was. What did he say I was?
I don't know, but
I can remember.
I can get some get back right now because I ain't gonna do that. I am not doing that.
I forgot what he was like in Nyla and Francois. And he was calling us by name. I was like, what the hell?
And I saw the investigator, his investigator. He didn't want to look at me yet. Listen, I know you watch my channel. He watches me. Listen, before you were courteous.
Brian,
this one right here, huh?
The one that had the alias on the calls,
yeah. Doug or Ed or
Doug, yeah.
Doug didn't want to look at me yesterday. Doug, listen, Doug, you knew you was losing this one. You didn't want me to be there, but I was there. I wanted to be here for that one.
I'm sure Nesto's nervous that his lawyer out here losing Rico's. But Nesto's lawyer was representing them.
Joe Doug.
I was able to ascertain that here in the last 3 minutes of listening to y'all. I actually didn't know that until just now. I didn't know that. That's definitely not a good look for somebody sitting in the Rico knowing that this is your
right. Imagine the conversations in the dorm, like, your lawyer just lost that Rico case. What's your charge? Yo, listen, those phone calls.
That's right, Lovejoy. He said I had a degree in performing arts. I'm like, what? Performing arts.
What? Knowledge degree.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know. I think he was. I don't know who he was doxing.
Yeah, but, he was doing a lot of doxing that day. Hey, Mr. Murray, I know your courage. I know who you are. I just don't, I don't really like it. Like, wait a minute, you were a critic? No,
they are not media. They are not media.
We all could be critics now, but I'm listen. I know I've covered enough trials. Know that you can't win them all, and I don't care unless you had a rabbit in your hat. It was you didn't have that. Even with your seasoned investigator, you couldn't pull this one off, and I get it. I get it. But I don't want no smoke with you, Doug.
Why do you think that Shannon Sharp only gave up $5 million to that white woman, though? Because I think he gave up a dub. She wanted 50.
I do too.
50. Why you think she took 5, bro? She wanted 50. I don't think she took 5.
Did Shannon have that? Does he have that? He don't have Diddy money. I mean, he had a deal on the table.
But you have to remember, they're not necessarily suing him personally. You know, the people that invest in him, like, you know, all those they got a policy on him that has you know, like when you have a business, you have insurance, liability insurance, just in case you get sued, because, you know, most business owners are not actually going into their pockets. I learned that when I sued my employer before. And my employer, he had, which we depleted that, it was $850,000 in you know, monies basically that they could pay out, where he wouldn't have to go into his pocket for anything.
So to answer Taz's question, I don't think the evidence was as strong. I mean, you can ask for anything, but did the evidence support it? He did a convenient settlement. You know, they do that. Like, he had to put it behind him. This thing could not drag on. But I don't think it was nothing like a Diddy settlement. Diddy had 30 million. He had 20 million. And he didn't pay for the whole thing. But in this one, I don't think so. The evidence wasn't as strong. You know, it really wasn't. I say 5 million.
Though 5 from 50 is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, 5 million to set you up. So I mean, that's nothing to say no to. You know what I'm saying? So I doubt you said no to anything.
Right.
So he lost $100 million deal, though, didn't he?
Did he? I know did he lose to someone with Disney?
I'm pretty sure, but I know I believe he lost that $100 million podcast deal.
He'll be back for football season. This was done so during football season, all of this won't matter. You know what I'm saying? This will be out the way. Moving forward, football season, when they put him back on ESPN,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they had to clear this up quick. You know, they had to clear this up because there was something out there that, they wanted to put him in. I think this is behind him. He got to move. He got to move smarter at this point. He got to move smarter. Now they're going after Tyler Perry. What do you think about Tyler Perry?
Look, I read that is the gayest lawsuit I've ever read in my life. Like, I felt like I was at a pride parade when I was reading that lawsuit. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh my goodness. Let's just say I'm going to stay away from that one. I'm just going to stay away. There's enough content creators that can tackle that one. I don't know how that one. I touched on the briefly with Christian Keys back in was it last year, 2 years ago. But I don't know, this one right here. We got to see how this thing play out. Really, this guy has tape recordings, or what does it? Because a lot of that stuff seemed like you said. You kept going to the house and you're doing this and he get in the bed with you. Wait. What what are we talking about here? But,
I've always looked at him as kind of weird though. So I want that to cloud any judgment. So I want to see a little bit more, because I've always looked at him as weird. So hearing anything is possible with dude. Like, so, I'm gonna see though, because what I'm saying, I haven't heard enough of this to say, yeah, he did it. You know what I'm saying? So I see where it goes.
Because he did accuse him. If you listen to what he's saying, some things were borderline criminal acts. If you listen to everything he's saying, like, well, that don't sound too kosher. But again, this is all alleged. I hear you. It's all alleged, and we have to see how it plays out. Well, guys, thank you. This has been a good show, and I appreciate you both coming up. Did you want to drop some where people can find you, and whatever you want to promote? Let's go. Let's do it.
I am BYT Goat. I don't go by my name as much anymore, but I am Taz exclusive. That is my channel. Goat.
All right. Judge, are you Judge Lala? Judge Lala, are you in the building? Is she? Dad, she's still frying chicken.
I don't know. I'm in my own area. I don't know what's going on the other side of the house.
Well, did not Nala, did you check out Judge Lala? Did you check out on me? Judge Lala. She done checked out. In any
Yeah,
event, guys, she might have
use that one to go grab a drink or something.
I wish I could sneak off like that. I should get off the camera myself. Well, anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming in, both of you, and until next time, we're gonna make it do what it do. I know I have some people left some messages in the comments. I'm see if I want to bring one up. Let's just see. Nala, I'm about to take you out of here, Nala. You're not here.
I'm so Dennis, I am so sorry. I had to take a call. I am so sorry, but go ahead and kick me out because I've been kicked out of better places than your channel. But I appreciate coming over. Thank you so much for having me. It was very informative. And yeah, we'll kick it next time.
Thank you, Nala. I appreciate you coming up. I really do.
No problem. Take care, Dennis.
Hey. Bye. All right, guys. That was cool. That was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. That was fun. It really was. Oh, we got wait a minute. We have okay, 900 something on Twitter. Okay. That's what's up. Guys, I will see you on the next live. Make sure well, first of all, make sure you subscribe. Never mind all that. Make sure you are subscribing. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.